Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the HQ. I hope you guys are enjoying my channel. I know I'm having a lot of fun recording this for you guys, and I'm hoping the audio sounds pretty good on this. And I hope my voice isn't too bad. I'm still kind of recovering from that respiratory virus I had, so hopefully it's not too bad for you guys. Anyway, let's get into it. Tonight we have some cryptid stories. These stories are all from r/CryptidEncounters. Alright, here we go. There's something in the woods, and I need help identifying it. This story is 100% true, and I'm writing it on here to warn other people and let them know that there's definitely something out there. And to this day, I still don't know what it was, nor have I gone into any woods or forests whatsoever since. If you don't believe me, that's completely fine. Read this story as a fun story at your own expense. But for those of you out there with an open mind, or you've seen something yourself, just know you're not alone. And just typing this out and remembering this account is causing me to shake with anxiety and fear. First off, I'm a girl, and I live in North Carolina of the United States. I was about 15 at the time of this encounter and was definitely not a believer in anything supernatural, paranormal, or anything of the sort. It happened while I was at a local summer camp. There was absolutely nothing special about that day. No weird lights, people, animals, sounds, nothing. It was just the same camp schedule as I'd grown used to in the past 2 weeks I'd been there. My age group had just finished up lunch and was able to persuade our counselor to let us play a game called Scatter down by the lake. It's like a giant hide-and-seek game played in the woods. Now, we had played this at least 20 times before that day, and nothing weird had happened to any of us. And we all grew up playing in the woods, so it's not like we had an aversion or fear of it. But for some reason, that day, when our counselor shouted scatter, and I ran to find a hiding place, it became a whole new ballgame. I had run as far as I could while still being able to see the lake, as were the rules, and had found a huge old uprooted tree that I decided would be the perfect hiding place. So I laid down as close as I could against the ground and waited. I had been there for about 5 minutes when I suddenly heard a voice calling my name, in a weird dreamy-like voice. And this wasn't just any voice. This was my mom's voice. Now, me and my mom are extremely close, thick as thieves. So I'd know her voice anywhere. And I could swear on my own grave that this, without a doubt, was hers. But I knew it couldn't be her. She was 20 miles away at work, and even if it had been her and she'd come to pick me up early, the voice wasn't coming from the lake. It was coming from further into the woods, beyond the border of the camp. I knew I should have run away from this strange mimic mom voice, but I couldn't. It was almost hypnotic. It messed with my thoughts and gave me doubts like, well, it could be Mom. Or what if she's hurt? And I have to get to her. All these things were flooding into my mind like someone had just broken a dam that I didn't know was there until they finally overwhelmed me and my emotions got the better of me. I took off running in the direction the voice was coming from. I ran as far as I could with only this strange voice as my guide. I couldn't have run for more than 5 or 7 minutes when I got to a clearing, and the voice suddenly stopped. When I entered the clearing, and I didn't hear my mom calling me anymore, I could finally think clearly again. And I started having little alarm bells going off inside my head saying, "You idiot," or "That's not Mom," and "Run." But I couldn't run. I didn't know where to run. I had gotten so far away I had actually lost sight of the lake by camp, and had absolutely no idea where I was. And I was completely exhausted to boot. With no other option than to sit and catch my breath, I did just that. No sooner had I sat down, more warning bells went off in my mind. I quickly did a 360-degree survey around the clearing and noticed a strange noise. It wasn't the continuation of the voice before. No, it was like this distinct sound of chattering teeth. Like if you were cold. Only there was no one else around, and it was also the middle of June in North Carolina. There's no way anyone should be cold. And that's when I heard it. Leaves and sticks crunch on the edge of the small clearing. And I realized that something was watching me. And whatever it was moved. And fast. It moved in circles around the clearing, almost like it was circling prey. And it was at that moment I knew whatever it was had led me out there away from the rest of my group. Exactly like the predator. My instincts had been screaming at me that it was a predator. Without any other option other than to try and escape, I took off in the direction that I thought I came from. And I sprinted as fast as I could, all the while hearing the chittering of teeth and sticks crunching behind me. I didn't know what to do. I didn't dare turn around to see what was chasing me, because I knew if I did, I would slow down, and I absolutely would not do that. It felt like a lifetime running away from this thing, before I finally saw the lake. And even though I didn't think I could run any faster, I did. I ran faster than I ever have in my life. And when I broke the tree line, I ran right to the lake, where I knew my friends were. At that point, I felt safe enough to stop and look back and see just what had been chasing me. But when I did, I only saw a fleeting form running back the way I had come from, and the distinct sound of chattering teeth. When I finally found my counselor, who was the seeker to find all of us, I was hysterical with fear. And I hugged her as tight as I could. When I finally calmed down, and she tried to get me to tell her what happened, but I just asked, "Were you calling my name?" Before she even said anything, I already knew the answer. After all, it had been my mom's voice that led me away from everyone else. But what she replied with was far more bone-chilling to me. She told me, "No one was calling for you. We didn't even know you were gone. Everyone is still hiding. The game isn't over yet." This story took place at a church camp, which is sort of like a Christian summer camp. This happened when I was about 8 years old. It started at night when I was trying to sleep. It was hot, and I felt like something heavy was sitting on my chest. Not like a weight, but like a hand. I could feel each individual finger pressing down, almost like it was trying to pierce my chest with its fingertips. When I opened my eyes, I was so scared, I almost burst into tears right then and there. But I felt like if I did, something even worse would happen. Not just to me, but to the other kids in the room with me. Well, instead I just laid there in my bunk, trying to keep it from knowing that I was awake. After a few hours, it stopped and left. What I saw when I opened my eyes was a tall, skinny figure with long arms. It had black eyes with red pupils that almost glowed in the dark. Large hands with slender fingers, and a mouth so wide, if it opened it, it would look like a hole. When I woke up in the morning, I felt a burning sensation on my chest. When I looked, I saw red marks where the thing had touched me. Things were pretty much normal until about the middle of the day, when everyone would go to the main building where we would all attend church and pray. While we were in the middle of a prayer, I opened my eyes to look up at the front of the room, and that's when I saw the figure standing in front of me. And when I saw it, it put one hand over my mouth and pushed the other hand into my chest. Now, it didn't tear a hole in my chest. Instead, it just went inside like it wasn't there. But I could still feel it in my chest. Its hand wrapped around my heart. Not a squeezing feeling, but a burning feeling. Almost like a red-hot fire poker touching bare skin. I was crying the whole time, trying to pull its hand out of my chest, but I wasn't strong enough. It had only stopped after the prayer was over. It just disappeared and was gone, but I could still feel the burning sensation in my chest. After we were done in the church that day, the day continued like normal. Like the thing was done doing what it needed to do. After this incident, I never went back to church camp again. And I also stopped going to church, period, because I never wanted to see that thing ever again. And to this day, I'm happy to say that I haven't seen it since. So, this happened 4 days ago. I was walking home from my cousin's house in Carter Lake, Iowa. So, on my way home, I was walking along a set of train tracks because it's nice and quiet, and I thought it was safe. At least that was until 4 days ago when I saw what I think was a black dog. For those of you that don't know, a black dog in most mythology and legends is a bad omen or a demonic entity that can cause bad accidents or misfortune. Anyways, I saw this black dog and I started walking faster. The dog followed me from the other side of the train tracks and it kept pace with me. So I started running, and the dog started running as well. And then it started to bark. But it didn't sound like a normal dog barking. It sounded a lot more metallic, and it had this strange echo to it. So, when I heard that, I started to run up the hill to my right, because that's the direction where the nearest road is. But because this hill is so steep, I pretty much had to climb it instead of running up it. And the dog tried to climb it as well, but when it got to just below me, I kicked it in the nose, and it yelped as it fell back down the hill. When I made it up the hill, I looked back down the hill, but the dog was gone. So I ran the rest of the way home, and once I got home, my lungs were burning because I just ran about 1.5 to 2 miles without stopping. Since this incident, I haven't seen the dog. Please let me know if this is a black dog or if this is something else entirely. So, I live in a rural area, which in the past used to be farmland, but since has been reclaimed by the forest. There is very dense undergrowth such as thorns and vines and a lot of other stuff to trip over. Anyway, there's this trail that I walk pretty much every day, multiple times a day, as I like to smoke back there. And this trail is the only clear path through the woods. It leads in for about 150 feet and then stops in a dead end. This was my favorite spot, and I still walk it today, and I have for the past 4 years. Usually I wake up and go straight to my trail before I'm even fully awake. So one day last summer, it's about 11 a.m., because, typical teenager, I'm half awake and walking the trail. I'm almost at the end when I hear the underbrush rustling, with the sound of something bipedal moving fast, so naturally I'm like, okay, what the hell was that? And I'm looking for the source of the sound when I see it, about 20 feet away from me, just past the end of the trail, is a large black figure, taking off away from me. Now, I stand an even 6 feet tall, and whatever this was probably just as tall, if not taller than me. Once I realized what was going on, I took off running back to my house. Now, of course, I realized that this was most likely just a person who got caught where they weren't supposed to be. But it's fun to think I could have encountered a Bigfoot in my own backyard. And ever since this happened, I'm always paranoid that someone, or something, is watching me in those woods, and it's made me extremely hyper-aware. And I also feel like those woods aren't mine anymore. Also, if this was a person, what the hell were they doing sneaking through the woods so close to my house, and then sprinting away when they got caught? Alright guys, I just want to do a real quick thank you at the end of this and a real quick outro. Thank you guys so much for bearing with me the past 2 weeks as I've been dying. I'm feeling a lot better now, as you can hear it in my voice. I'm still a little under the weather. Still got a little bit of a gravelly voice. I hope that wasn't too bad in this for you guys. I hope you guys enjoy the channel, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Got a couple of really neat ones coming up. One of them being the Christmas City Massacre of Willowwood High, the full release. I'm also doing another one called Glenmont. I'm really excited for that. I hope you guys enjoy both of those. Anyway, I'll see you guys soon.